So, the time has come, we have revisited every MCU Phase 2 movie, and I had an absolute blast revisiting them all. If you missed any of my rewatches and breakdowns, you can go check them out on my channel. This video is all about ranking every movie in the MCU Phase 2 and seeing how they stack up also compared to MCU Phase 1. So, let's get into it, and the first movie that we're starting with is Iron Man 3. So, we have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. So far, no movie in F tier from the first MCU Phase 1. Only movie in D tier so far is Hulk, and with Iron Man 3, I'm looking more at the lower segments. So, yes, it's an okay movie, but Iron Man is my favorite character in the MCU, and Iron Man 1 is my favorite movie in the MCU. It's difficult to compare it to the Avengers movies, but I love Iron Man, and I was kind of disappointed with the third Iron Man movie. I made a whole video about it, about what's great about it, but also what I hate about the movie. So, out of the three Iron Man movies, it's definitely, for me personally, the worst one. So since Iron Man 2 is B tier, Iron Man 1 S tier, this one sadly is going into C tier for me. I would have liked to have something better as the last Iron Man movie, but gladly we got more of Iron Man in the MCU, and in the end he gets an amazing conclusion. But Iron Man 3 for itself, not a favorite of mine. So C tier, still okay, but it's just a lot of personal disappointment because I love Iron Man so much, and I would have liked something better. Next movie, Thor: The Dark World. This is actually, until my revisit, it was the only movie in MCU Phase 1 and 2 that I only saw once, because I remembered this movie being very bad. Like, before I revisited it, I would have probably put it in C tier, maybe even D tier. Like, that's how I remembered it. But now, having revisited it, I actually have to say it's better than I remember. So if you're like me and you only saw it like once or twice way back in the day and thought it wasn't that great, maybe give it another shot. Like, I revisited it, and from today's perspective, I actually really liked it. And I really liked Loki and Thor in that movie. Although, you know, the bad guy is, of course, he's not great. So, yeah, the story just not that important, the bad guy not that great, but I loved Loki's and Thor's chemistry. So that's why I think I'm gonna put it in B tier. Yeah, it's A tier is too much for this one. The villain was too bad and the overall story was too unimportant in the grand scheme of things, but Loki and Thor, they absolutely nailed it. I think this is the best version of Loki we got in this movie. Made a whole video about that. Loki, absolutely amazing, and Thor 2. So I think B tier is fair enough. So far, C tier, B tier, you could think that, hey, MCU Phase 2 wasn't that great, but now we're getting to the really good ones, which the first one of those last three in MCU Phase 2, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It's such a beauty. It's such a good one. So different than the first Captain America movie. Yeah, you can already see I'm looking at like S tier, A tier, looking like S tier, A tier. Yeah, it's definitely not B tier for me. There's something in me that wants to put it in S tier because I think I love this movie as like a standalone movie, and it's like totally different to other superhero movies because it has like that thriller vibe almost. But for S tier, it's, I don't know, it's just missing something for me for S tier. I don't know what exactly it is. I want to reserve S tier for like the very special gems like Iron Man 1. I've seen that over 15 times. And the first Avengers team up movie, you know, that's just special. So yeah, in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it's gonna go into A tier for me. I love the seriousness. I love what the Russo brothers did with the character of Captain America in that movie. Like, they just put him in the perfect circumstances that challenges him, that develops him. Like, taking a soldier that is like, that works really well, or is like in an environment that he likes when he gets orders, and it's like, go there, fight that guy, and save the day. Like, that's Captain America, basically. That's when he can operate at his best. But in this movie, it's like, I love how it challenges him. Like, hey, who's actually giving the orders? Is that guy giving the orders? Are those orders actually good? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the best for humanity if I follow those orders? And okay, in this case, he thinks it's not the best for humanity. So then it's like the question, do I now disobey orders? But disobeying orders, how can disobeying orders be the right thing? So I love how it challenges that, and yeah, just put together brilliantly. And yeah, it's no surprise that the Russo brothers ended up doing a lot more movies in the MCU, because I feel like they, at least in MCU Phase 2 and also then later Phase 3, I think they have a brilliant understanding of the characters. And that's what makes the MCU so special, in my opinion. The characters in at least MCU back then. Now MCU, it's kind of in going through a difficult phase. But back then, the characters were absolutely brilliant. And I love when they get challenged in the right movie. So, yeah. Best movie of the 3 so far. And now, this is another difficult one. Guardians of the Galaxy. So, from the get-go, I can say it's not going any lower than A tier. It's again the question, S tier or A tier. The thing that's so brilliant about this movie is that it's basically like Avengers in space. If you think about it, it's a new group of people that we've never met before. So other than the Avengers movie, in the Avengers movie, we got every Avenger except like Hawkeye and Black Widow got its own solo movie before that, which was like really great and yeah, enabled them to do a lot more in the first Avengers movie. And we saw many other movies like the Justice League that failed because they weren't willing to put in the work beforehand, because none of the Justice League guys, or not, at least not everyone from the Justice League, got their own solo movie before that. And that makes it a lot more difficult to do that team-up movie when you don't know anybody. And this is exactly what Guardians of the Galaxy managed to do. We didn't know anybody of these, and yet they're an amazing group, they're super funny, and the movie absolutely worked. Of course, Star-Lord being like the protagonist, but yeah, it managed to pull that off. It managed to show us these, or make us love these 5 random characters. It was super funny. The soundtrack is amazing. So it's a strong candidate for S tier, but again, looking at S tier, Iron Man 1, Avengers, like I can't put Guardians of the Galaxy in S tier when there's like Avengers and Iron Man. Like, it's crazy that it worked and super fun movie, but for me, I think A tier is a reasonable spot, in my opinion. With this one, I'm really the most unsure, so let me know your thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy. Where would you place it? Would you put it in S tier or actually lower? You know, like, you're free to have your opinion, and I'd be interested to know why you would put it lower than A tier. And now we're already at Avengers Age of Ultron. Yeah, MCU Phase 2 was actually quite a quick one. Got follow-up movies to our beloved characters. One movie that gave us 5 new characters. And then already Avengers Age of Ultron. And yeah, if you haven't seen my reaction or follow-up video, you know, in-depth talk about Avengers Age of Ultron, then you might know that I think this movie, or if you haven't seen it, then you don't know, but I think this movie is incredibly underrated. Like, back then it got a lot of hate, and yeah, sure, it's hard to, how can you capture the magic of the first Avengers movie? Like, that's incredibly difficult. But this movie did so many things great. So like, if you're one of those guys that thinks, or that remembers this movie not being that great, give it another shot. Especially revisiting this movie, it becomes a lot better, because you can then appreciate how much heavy lifting this movie actually does for the future of the MCU. It sets up so many things that are important for MCU Phase 3 and 4. It's insane. And while setting all those things up, it's still a good movie by itself. So I have the greatest amount of respect for Joss Whedon for pulling this off, like telling your own story and honoring so much what came before it and setting up so much that comes after it. It's insane. And, you know, now that I'm arguing that, you would think that I would put it in S tier. And objectively, maybe it should be there. Because objectively speaking, I think this movie is better than the first Avengers movie. But subjectively, there's just something special about that first time, that first team-up movie, the first time all these heroes came together. So, yeah, because this is not an objective ranking, this is a subjective ranking, I'm gonna put it in A tier. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Avengers, Age of Ultron, all very high A tier. So yeah, MCU Phase 2, it was a good phase, you know, didn't start off strong with Iron Man 3, for me sadly disappointed, but then Thor the Dark World, actually a lot better than I remembered, and then 3 very solid A tier movies. So I had a blast revisiting MCU Phase 2, and I can't wait to revisit the rest of the MCU, because MCU Phase 3, that's where things get like, they get really started. Like, I don't know, we'll see, but I think in like MCU Phase 3, I think there's nothing gonna be below B tier. That's my, if I remember it correctly. I mean, we'll see once I revisit them, but I remember all MCU Phase 3 movies very highly, and that was like that phase where you could just go into cinema and you know, you were so confident that you were gonna have a good time in MCU Phase 3. Those are like the golden age of the MCU. So can't wait to revisit that. Hopefully you'll be along for the ride and I'll revisit them with you together. So hopefully I'll see you there. Have a good one.